Hello there, very good morning and welcome to your Primetime Breakfast News Bulletin with me, Shane Silva. As always, let's start off with a look at your headlines. The External Affairs Ministry states that they expect to respond to the UNHRC's request for an official tour of the country, while the JVP states that no country that relies on the dollar is able to act against imperialism. While internationally, dozens killed in church bombing and rioting in Nigeria. On to your stories in detail. Now, the External Affairs Ministry states that they expect to respond to the United Nations Human Rights Commission's request for an official tour of the country. Secretary to the Ministry, Karunatilaka Amunugama, stated that they expect to provide a positive response in this regard. He added that the ministry had held discussions on this matter and had arrived at a final decision. On to another story that made the headlines this morning. Now, the Jonatha Vimukti Peramuna Politburo member K.D. Lalkantha states that no country that relies on the dollar is able to act against imperialism. He made this statement while participating in a discussion that was organized in Badulla yesterday to discuss the rising cost of living.
On that side, we have Mr. Sambandhan, who is saying that he will create the Elam state with the assistance of foreign organizations. Karunanidhi on the 17th stated that India joined the United Nations and helped create a country called East Timor. He said that this should be followed to create Elam in Sri Lanka. They intend to do this with the assistance of the UN. They plan to use the UN Human Rights Commission in this regard. They intend to use the dollar of the Americans. Countries that rely on the dollar cannot act against imperialism.
American කාර්යයේ ඩොලර් එක ඒකට පාවිච්චි කර ගනිමින් තිබෙනවා. ඩොලර් එක මත යැපෙනේ මත ජීවත් වෙන කිසිදු රටකට අධිරාජ්‍යවාදයට විරුද්ධව යමක් කරන්න බෑ.
On to other local stories now. The Presidential Dengue Prevention Task Force is scheduled to meet today to discuss the situation on the deadly virus. According to Health Ministry sources, ministers and secretaries of 12 ministries and all officers involved in the prevention of dengue are due to participate in the meeting. According to the Director of the National Dengue Prevention Unit, Dr. Ranjit Bhattuwantudawa, special attention is to be given on how to move forward. He pointed out that they intend to discuss what steps should be taken to prevent the spread of the disease in the Western Province. The director of the National Dengue Prevention Unit added that they also intend to discuss how to seek the assistance of the public to prevent the spread of the disease in the rest of the country. In the meantime, a decision has been taken for public health inspectors to recommence their trade union action.
Secretary to the Sri Lankan Public Health Inspectors Union, Senrath Bandara, stated that they had arrived at this decision as the relevant health authorities had failed to provide a solution for the issues faced by them. The country's public health inspectors previously halted their month-long strike on the 11th of this month after health officials agreed to provide a solution for the issues faced by them. When he made inquiries in this regard, Deputy Health Minister Lalit Disnaika stated that these inspectors should attempt to solve their issues through negotiation and discussion.
Before we take a look at the latest that's happening in the African continent, the Disaster Management Centre estimates that close to 500 acres of forest land has been damaged in the wake of the fire that took place in the Minipe Muraraya Reserve.
Assistant Director of the Centre Pradeep Kodipili stated that approximately 90% of the fire had been brought under control at the moment. The Disaster Management Centre Assistant Director went on to say that the Army had also provided its support towards curtailing the blaze. It was reported that 2 helicopters had also been used for this purpose. However, Kodipili stated that there were small fires at several locations.
Starting off your sports news this morning, Sri Lanka will take on Pakistan in the 5th and final one-day international at the R. Premadasa Stadium in Colombo today. Now, Sri Lanka currently lead the 5-match series 2-1. Shifting gears, Kandy Sports Club and Sri Lanka Navy managed to secure victory in the Inter-Club League Rugby Tournament matches played last evening.
CHNFC grounds in Maitland Crescent hosted the match between Kandy Sports Club and CHNFC. The lads from Kandy were leading by 8 points to nil at the short whistle. Kandy went on to secure victory with 18 points to CHNFC's 10. The defending champions scored their points through 3 tries and a penalty, while the hosts only managed to score a try and a penalty. Meanwhile, Sri Lanka Police hosted Sri Lanka Navy at the police grounds in Colombo. At half-time, the scoreboard read 11 points to 7 in favour of Sri Lanka Navy. Navy continued attacking after the turnaround and beat Sri Lanka Police 31 points to 17.
Let's now take a look at your currency exchange rates. Well, there you go. That's a look at your primetime breakfast news bulletin for today. Of course, don't forget to log on to www.newsfirst.lk for the very latest on the world around you. Thanks a lot for joining me. Up next is Good Morning Sri Lanka.